Yo ho ho! Apex be watching things on the interwebs, and I saw something interesting. I wanted to talk about this beforehand, but I saw a stream with like Kai Cenat and Kevin Hart maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Then another one came up, and they had Drewski and a bunch of other guys in the background, and Kevin Hart, and I was greatly confused. See, to a lot of people, this is gonna come off like me looking like a hater, because you'd be like, "Hey, you're on YouTube, you're talking in front of the camera. What's wrong with them talking in front of the camera?" Okay, well, thank you for pointing out the obvious. But what I do is I like to do social commentary. I like to sit down and watch things that people do and see if I can understand a little bit more, like why are they doing it. And I like to pontificate. I like to see, can I figure out what's the motives? Why is this being done? What is there to gain? Like, what is the great outcome that people do things and expect from it? And as I was kind of looking at the highlights of the stream with Kai Drewski and Kevin Hart, one thing that kind of like was strange to me was like, why is Kevin Hart here? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm weird. I thought it was weird the first time I saw it, but I was like, okay, maybe it's just a one off. But I was like, okay, the second time, I'm like, okay, this is a little bit odd because I think Kevin's maybe 45. That's a middle aged man, and he's hanging out with Kai, and I think what Kai's like 21, something like that. Same thing with Drewski. Drewski might be around his mid 20s, and I'm trying to understand. Kevin Hart's a family man, multi-million-dollar man, I imagine in Hollywood, and I'm trying to understand why is he hanging out with a streamer? Like what? Like is Kevin Hart going to start streaming? Like I was very confused because maybe this is just a thing that like celebrities like to hang out with other celebrities, but me as a 30-year-old something man, I find it very difficult to conversate with guys who are in their 20s. We just don't have much in common, especially considering one is a family man. One has like a wife, kids at home, a full career. I think he runs a couple of businesses. And as far as I know, Kai kind of just sits in his one run, his little nice layout, kind of like how I do, and he talks in front of the camera all day for like 25 hour or whatever, 24 hour long live streams. And I was looking at this and I was just trying to wonder like, why is this occurring? Like, is this not odd because it wasn't like Kevin was really giving him game, like teaching him something, teaching him about Hollywood. And Drewski said something that was really important that he kind of checked Kevin a little bit on it, but the guy was like, help me get into Hollywood, and Kevin was kind of laughing about it. And Drewski's like, man, like, help us, man, help us. And I was like, ooh, that was interesting because that sounded like a real plea, like that was a real moment. But I was kind of wondering, like, is Kevin kind of just around to like take in Kai's audience, like to siphon some of his people to brighten up his own star, or is he trying to help shine Kai's wheels? And it led me to thinking and maybe even questioning to some degree, like, who has more like fans and longevity in today's age, the movie star or the streamer? Like, I don't know. This is an interesting question. Like, who is the more in demand person, the streamers or the movie stars? Why? Because once again, you got to think about this. Kevin Hart's been in the game for 20 plus years. Kai's I'm not gonna say he's recent, but like he's kind of new to some degree, relatively speaking, compared to Kevin. And he's coming on to Kevin's coming on to his platform and not vice versa. Why is Kai not doing movies with Kevin? Why is Kevin not putting these guys on game? Maybe he's just doing this to learn. We'll see happen in the future. I could just all speculate and me thinking this is wrong. But I don't think Kevin is introducing Kai to a bigger audience because I don't think in today's age, in the eyes of the Zoomer, Kai is a little bit more well known than Kevin Hart, and I think he has a brighter star and a longer career ahead of him. And once again, not saying like discounting Kevin's career, but Kevin's career kind of exists in a time like in the 1990, but the 2000s, 2010s, back when movies and stand up and all these things actually kind of mattered. In today's age that we currently exist in, we live in the age of the streamer, the virtual influencer. These are the people who truly move the needle as far as like advertisement and getting people to watch and entertain things. Because the Zoomer mindset is not one where they want to go out to their house, go look at a movie and watch the movie in the movie theater. Those days are kind of done. What the streamer does now is they get their phone, or the Zoomer does, they got their phone, they're sitting there watching Kai all day. And like when I was watching, Kevin was kind of acting like a 20-year-old kid. And that's not to say that he shouldn't have like his childlike exuberance. Like I not talk to Kevin, but I listened to Kevin talk on like Rogan's podcast, do a couple of interviews. He has a very insightful. He's very knowledgeable, wise. He's kind of sharp. He's not like a dum dum. But it was interesting to see him play around with kids, kind of like a dum dum. And like it was to me it was a little bit bizarre. And to me, when I was looking at it, what it seemed like was Drewski might have had the most how would you say it, self awareness in that whole entire stream. Drewski's kind of looking like, hey man, can we talk a little bit of business? Like help us. Let me get into movies. How do I get into Hollywood? How do I get into this next level of thing? Because I imagine at some level, like with all entertainers, like the star dims a little bit. You're not going to be as popular as you once was. Like you get to a height, and then once you get to a certain height, it starts to dwindle and goes down, and then you're kind of just the light's done, flickers out. And so maybe Drewski's seeing a little bit of the writing on the wall. Like he got through that break of Ruby Rose. Maybe he's running out of content, things to talk about. Maybe he's getting not as popular. But it's fascinating to see because I will wonder like how do they work together? And then I was also very curious like why is there so many dudes all in one place together? Like why are all these guys in Kai's background? It's just I find it to be a strange thing that the modern Zoomer entertainment form because I don't necessarily understand it. I'm much of a long form content of like educational thing. Like I like the Rogan, I like Zimmerman, not Zimmerman, but Huberman. There's a couple different people I would listen to, but I like to hear smart people talk about smart things and different insights. So I was very just confused by why Kevin Hart was even there, and I guess he was there just to be funny. And Kai kind of seems like a how can I put it? I'm not gonna say that he's not intelligent, but he seems like just a kid that hit the jackpot because he kept doing it for so long, and I think that's largely what we're starting to see within the like the streamer entertainment form is like it's not so much really based upon like the talent or how good you are at being funny or anything like that because largely I don't find these people very entertaining or funny to all that degree, but what I believe they do is it's more just like a volume thing. If you have an interesting looking background, kind of like what I'm trying to do here, and you can be on the camera forever and just constantly keep entertainment going, and not really entertainment, just be on the camera. Like once you kind of realize that they just got to keep filming things because once they get to a certain level where there's so many people watching, it's almost like they watch just as a habit. It no longer becomes entertaining. It's just we're watching just for the sake of watching. And that's what I find so fascinating about the Zoomer streamer entertainment era is like because it's not really all that high good. It's kind of like candy, and they just keep feeding you candy, 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 candy until your brain is just rotted. And that's what the modern Zoomer's brain is. It's brain rot. There's not much building. There's not much category evolution in the growth and the change of the people. It's like they get more money, they get more things around, they bring on different celebrities. But like, why is Nicki Minaj on your thing? What are you and Nicki talking about? Like, it's weird. And once again, you gotta realize these are middle-aged adults kicking it with like kids, and they got families and shit. And once again, I'm not trying to demean because once again, it's gonna make me sound like a hater. I'm not trying to sound like a hater. I'm just interested in observing the behavior that I'm watching through my medium called the interwebs. And I don't know. Another question I start to ask myself is like, is being a streamer, like being an entertaining streamer, is that anything of longevity? Like, can you not be profound, have interesting thoughts and ideas and outlooks on circumstances and things that you're watching, and still have a long career as a streamer? Like one of the things I pride myself on in this particular channel is I don't try to entertain you through theatrics and funny shit. Like if I say something that might be true, you might find it funny, you might find it entertaining, you might find it interesting. But my goal is to get you to see something, think about something, and be like, oh, you know what? That's actually got a point. That's kind of interesting. I may not like it, but it's kind of truthful. And I try to educate you about like what you're seeing in reality, what you're seeing in real life. And I don't know if that's really the case for most of these streamers. From what I'm watching, it just seems like it's like a clusterfuck of a party. From like Aiden Ross to Zion to Bradley Martin to all these different guys. It's kind of like they're not really teaching you anything. It's more so they're just kind of like throwing out content and you watch out of habit because that's the only thing else is on. It's kind of like cable TV back in the day before you had all these different channels. There used to be like 13 channels and they had a schedule. And you didn't necessarily watch because it was good. You just watch because shit, I don't have anything else to watch. And this is better than whatever else I'm watching. So fuck it, I just keep watching because I know who the characters are. I guess it's entertaining and this reminds me of people in my school. And maybe if I keep watching, I keep sending money to these people, I might get on and become a big streamer and maybe gives me hope. I don't know. I just find it interesting. But appreciate you guys for listening. Hopefully we can find out the answers together.